Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to the Nest Podcast, episode 39, the Larry Zonka episode, presented by Sportszilla. I'm your host, Brandon, and joining me as co host for the first time ever is host of Into the Woods podcast, Justin Cornett. Justin, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys? I'm glad to be a co-host. I'm a little bit prettier than Zach, and I cuss a lot more, but it should be good.
Speaking of Zach, conspicuous as his absence is, he had something come up, and Justin jumped in last minute and said, "I'll co-host the Nest with you." And I said, "Cool, come on, buddy."
Yeah,
So here we are.
I feel right at home. I've done it.
You've been here a million times.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Our long-term listeners know you quite well through football season.
It's about to start back up. I can't wait.
Are you going to come back on this year and talk with us a little bit?
Yeah, man, I'm down.
Cool, hell yeah. We'll get it back together. We've got a few more weeks of baseball before we switch gears into football, but there is some trending topics, I guess, in the football world that we could talk about, and that's Tyreek Hill, man. That's been a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it's as much his wife's deal as his deal, and vice versa. Anytime it's regarding a kid, he can basically kiss my ass. I got nothing for Tyreek Hill.
Well, let's run down what all has happened and transpired in the timeline here. We first heard about it because a 3-year-old child has a broken fucking arm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's the first news that we hear of it. And then we hear about some of his past domestic violence issues coming from even when he was in college.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh damn, okay, so this guy's got a history of domestic violence against his fiance, wife, whatever, that he's still with, the same woman. Um he has a history of violence there. A child ends up with a broken arm. That's kind of suspicious. And then this audio drops the day after he's cleared of any charges. He was actually cleared for a little while.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh, see, we judged a book by its cover. Shame on us." And then the very next day or later that night, draft night actually, the audio tape dropped
Yep.
that had a lot of other damning evidence. And
Man.
and even more, the story continues to evolve, and now the Chiefs are kind of starting to look bad themselves.
I mean, the dude's getting ready to get paid. If he hadn't already, he already got paid, did he not?
No, I don't think that they actually extended him, but the Chiefs are starting to look bad because they're like, well, he's still on our team. We're not gonna just cut ties. We're not kicking him off the team because you know he's he's a bad dude.
Yeah, and the only way I can see them keeping him is they want to make sure to get everything out in the open before they let him go. I don't see that there's any way around keeping him if everything comes out and it's legitimate, he did what he did. There's no way the Chiefs could keep him after letting somebody like Eric Berry go and them shitting on him the way they did. And you're going to keep a guy like Tyreek Hill after child abuse.
I mean, yeah, that's a honest comparison. Eric Berry hasn't ever done anything wrong, and he's been a great ambassador for the sport. What about somebody like Kareem Hunt? They kicked him off the team immediately after the video was released. Is that the difference? There was a video instead of an audio?
I think when you got audio, you can kind of say, well, is it him? Or, well, this was patched. When you see the video, you know that he Spartan kicked that bitch in the elevator. Like there's no getting around it.
I don't even think he Spartan kicked her, to be honest. I think he just kind of like I don't think he kicked her that hard. I think the bad thing was that he charged his bodyguard and knocked her down by using that dude as a battering ram.
Yeah,
That's the more assaulting incident, in my opinion.
I agree, but in my head, he Spartan kicked her.
I mean, if he would have Spartan kicked her, I mean, Ray Rice knocked his wife cold out.
So what's up
That
with these elevators? Like, are people that pissed off to be going on the elevator?
I mean, I guess, man, vertigo is a serious motherfucker.
Here's my thing, if they're getting captured, getting on and off of elevators, because there's cameras there, how
Right.
much of this shit is going on behind closed doors with other people where there's not cameras?
That's a very good point,
I mean, it's not ironic that all this crazy stuff happens in an elevator. It's just there's cameras there.
That's true. I mean, as soon as they get into a hotel room, who knows what else happens?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a scary thought for a lot of people.
And I believe at this point in the NFL, they need to quit worrying about steroids and drugs, and they need to maybe set up a polygraph or something along those lines and have these people kind of go through it and not ask them nothing really personal, but just use like basic questions to kind of identify those that are high risk or those that might be doing more behind closed doors. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know if the Players Association would agree to anything like that. It's pretty intrusive.
Yeah. A lot of
But
things are intrusive. I mean, I don't know, man. The Tyreek Hill thing, hitting a woman's one thing, but when I heard about the kid, us both having kids, that really pissed me off.
well, and I
Mm,
currently have a 3-year-old, so that's even more close to home.
yeah.
And it's insane to think about that, like that you could do that to a child. Whether now it's saying that she's the one that actually broke the child's arm. Now Tyreek Hill's pointing the finger at her, pointing the blame on her. And that's why I kind of like shade on the Chiefs a little bit more because they're cool with him passing the buck. They're like, "Oh, well, if she did it, then that's good. That's good thing." It's like, no, they're both guilty here.
And she'll accept that too because she's not making the money.
Exactly. Exactly. It's fucking sickening. And this child, I hope he never has to go back to that house.
Yeah. I hope he grows up and starts boxing like T-Man and then like waits his turn just to beat his dad's ass.
But you know what's so fucking sad is this kid's gonna go and get adopted, probably by a decent family, a good family, but he could have had a millionaire's life if his dad and mom weren't fucking assholes.
Yep.
His dad would have made millions of dollars every year just to play football. And he would have grown up going to private schools and having, all the best everything. He would have every video game. He would have the kid's dream life.
Yep.
But because his dad's a fucking prick and his mom's a little bitch, he might get to grow up in a decent life, but it's probably not anything compared to what it could have been. But at least he won't get beat. So
And he still will. I mean, he's Tyreek Hill's kid. It's going to be kind of a blindside situation. There'll be some sort of special adoption. He ain't just an average kid. He'll go with a family that can well take
see,
care of him.
and that's shit too.
That's life. I mean, who don't want Tyreek Hill's kid? No offense, I'll adopt his ass and I'll take care of him because I know he's going to be a monster athlete. I
I
will.
mean,
I'll adopt him. I'll pay for all his shit. I'll give him Nikes, Jordans. He can have all video games. Let's do it. Let's do it.
all right, fuck. Hey, put your name in the hat, I guess.
I don't make the type of money that you make to adopt a kid.
Yeah. I don't think I do either, actually.
You
Um,
gotta you gotta make close to six figures before they'll let you adopt.
damn, really?
It costs a lot. Like I had a friend that they couldn't have kids and they live in Alaska now, but they saved up for years. I think it took them like 3 years, and I believe it was like 60 grand they had to put down just to adopt a kid that they wanted to love, who was basically living with nothing, but you still got to pay that amount of money to adopt a kid. It's stupid as hell. I believe if somebody wants to love a kid and can at least feed them, clothe them, that should be enough. But instead, you got to have a shit ton of money just to even fill out the paperwork. I think it took them a total of 2 years to get the kid. When they first met the kid was 6 months old. They saved up the money, did all the paperwork. I believe they got the kid when the kid was turning 3.
Wow. Wow.
So
So like 2.5 years or so.
so they knew they had the kid. They went and saw the baby, but they didn't get to bring him home till he was almost 3 years old.
Wow.
So all the kid knew of his parents were pictures. They would make picture books. It was really crazy. And
How's the kid now?
oh, happy man,
Perfect
happy.
kid, like everything's good.
Oh yeah, happy as ever.
That's awesome.
But I think
That's a feel good story.
he's probably 5, 6 now, maybe.
Okay, that's awesome. So
Yeah, so he's
in
right at
first grade
home.
or so, yeah,
Yeah, he's right at home. But
that's
it's
cool.
just a messed up situation. I
No,
mean,
absolutely. It was from a fucked up situation. Um, Another way that it's like difficult or whatever is the in vitro. Have you ever heard of anybody that's had to use that shit?
yeah, I've got a friend that did that. Well, she's a lesbian, and they wanted to have,
A baby.
yeah, but they did it. They paid. I think they said they paid 10 grand. They got to go through a booklet, and each like you get to go through a special book if you pay so much, and it shows a picture of the father, and it gives you like things that, his genetics. Did he play sports? Basically, a list of things that you want to know. They picked a dad, and then they did all that stuff with. They decided who was going to be the, give birth, and they did it that way. It's pretty crazy because believe it or not, the kid looks like both of them, which is weird.
That is
But
weird. Maybe they picked their sperm donor based off of which one looked more like her.
that's a possibility. I mean, really athletic kids. So I know they got one with good genes, which they're both athletic too. So, but that's what lesbian couples do, I guess. If you ain't going to adopt, if you want to actually start, fresh, I guess you would say.
Do you think the father should be notified every time that their sperm is chosen in a donor clinic like that?
Would you want to?
I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't, man, because then I'd be thinking, damn, I got this kid out there. Like, I'm the type that even if I have nothing to do with, well, obviously I have something to do with it, but you know what I mean? Even if they wanted that for their family, I would still feel the need that I had to do something for that kid. Like, I couldn't let it. I don't know. I wouldn't want to know. Then again, I've never been hard up enough to go beat off in a cup for somebody else, but
Which neither have I. I've never done that. I've never had to go and, jerk off to make 50 bucks or whatever it is that you actually make when you do that. Um, I mean, not to say that I wouldn't do it because let's face it, that's a easy 50 bucks right there, man. But for something that I do for fucking free all the damn time.
yeah, but you know how many people have like little stoner babies out there, just like little deadbeat babies because they need a fix or something.
Well, don't like if you have to go through a special book and all that stuff, like it sounds like,
That's if you pay a shit ton of money. That's like
oh, that's
that's
the
an exception.
premium. That's
Yeah, that's
the
like
okay.
what you're getting. But
So
if
there's a luck of the draw barrel.
yeah, there's like, and they honestly do. They split them up. Like if a person has such good genes and are so smart, they put them aside for this. I guess you'd call it a premium package, but you pay for all that shit. If you ain't got that kind of money, you could be getting Joe Smo. You could be getting Stoner Steve down the road and getting his sperm.
Dang. Okay,
Yeah,
so I wonder if the premium dad sperm donors get paid more than average Joes.
I'm sure they do.
I mean, I would want to know that I have the premium sperm, right?
Yeah, they'd just look at me and be like, "No, fuck you. He's going on the other side."
Oh shit. We have gotten so far off topic.
I'd walk in there and be like, "Hey, can I make the book?" They'd be like, "Nah, fuck you. Go next door. Go next door to the gas station bathroom. We'll bring you a cup."
God damn.
Now, I would do it honestly, and no, all jokes aside, if I knew that I might want to have a kid down the road, and I was getting at the age to where I possibly couldn't have a kid, I would do it and freeze it or whatever they do
Okay.
for myself. But if I wasn't going to have it, I'd be like, "Hey, pour that shit down the sink." You know what I mean? Or whatever they do, catch it on fire. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Drink it.
I don't even know how long that it stays good frozen. Like eventually it's got to go bad, right?
I don't know. I'm gonna be looking it up tonight though.
Like ice cream can go bad and it's permanently frozen or whatever. Like it can get frostbit and all that stuff and then it's no good anymore.
Yeah, but a Twinkie's good for like 100 years.
I mean, but a Twinkie's not your sperm in a freezer.
It's cream filling. I don't know. I'm sure they've got like special. It's like a scientist lab. You know what I mean? They're not just going in a regular fridge. I mean, they have the tools to keep it exactly a certain degree and all. I'm sure it'll last at least 2-3 years because people do that all the time.
But it's so much funnier to picture like an old rusty fridge that's in a garage somewhere.
And they take it out and it just turns to dust. They're like, "Oh, can't use that one."
Yeah, that one's no good.
Yeah, this sperm right here it's laying on its side.
That's $50 wasted.
I'd say they got enough sperm to probably populate a whole nother earth that's just sitting back there, and they're just like, "Damn, we should make them get all this sperm."
Yeah, no shit.
I wonder if it's like blood or plasma, and you can only give like once a week or something.
I don't know. Maybe there's like some kind of criteria that you have to wait a certain length of time. Like you can't beat off at home or anything for a whole week. You have to let that shit build.
Dude just brings it in like a Slurpee cup. And like, here you go. I've been saving this for a month. This is at least $100 worth.
God.
We got to change topics.
Yeah, this is terrible. We've been on this for way too long. I've already tried to change it once and you kept going.
This is what happens when you bring me back.
I know. Oh man, Zach, where are you? So we're kind of doing like a cross promotion deal with Sportszilla now.
Mhm.
Have you been seeing any of that? I think I invited you to the group on
Yeah, I have.
Facebook.
I haven't joined yet, but I did check it out the other day. I saw where you sent me something, and I clicked on their site and started. They had a bunch of polls going on right now. That
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah, it's a bunch of dudes and some girls and stuff that are in there, and everybody's just chatting and bringing up different topics of just about sports. A lot of basketball guys in there. It seems like they always talking about uh MVP of the league, and they're always talking about who's better, Jordan, LeBron, stuff like that. So everybody just jumps in conversations and throws their 2 cents in, and then they're done. It's pretty cool. And they've been kind of promoting us, so we're kind of promoting them, and we're working with the Locker Room Talk podcast on there as well. Rocking their shirt and hat right now. You can pick that up
I
on
noticed
their
that
online store. Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Miami
The,
Vice looking shirt.
it's actually pretty cool because the Miami Vice setting, but that's actually Jacksonville's skyline.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Wallow, the host of that show, he also does graphic designs and stuff. He's pretty badass at it. So,
That's a
for
cool shirt. I'd rock it.
little plug for them. Thanks to them for hooking me up with the cool merch.
We still ain't got merch. I'll hook everybody up when we get it.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Um, Wallow helped me out with a little something that I'm working on. I'll get with you offline and talk to you about that.
Yeah, well, I like to see us all, going forward and doing things.
Yeah, and
It's good to see.
everybody's growing and trying to evolve and do something more and do something better. And the more we all just work together, it'll help us all out in the long run.
We got the Pod Squad, son.
The Pod Squad, hell yeah, I dig that.
Pod
Um,
Squad.
have you been keeping up with any baseball this year, Justin?
I have. I know my Braves are balling.
Yeah, I haven't really kept up with them. What's been significant on the Bravos this year?
I mean, just they've been pretty hot from basically every game I've seen. They've, like I said, I don't follow it like you guys, but I do follow the Braves, like the highlights and clips. I
Hmm.
know Acuna is balling out, and he's worth every bit of that $100 million that we paid him.
Well, that got a fantastic deal on that guy.
That's a steal. And
Yeah.
I do want to ask you. I think you posted this. The position player that was pitching,
Yes.
that was a nasty fucking curveball, dude.
I didn't see it. I remember talking about it, but I can't remember seeing the videos of it, or like I might have just read a highlight.
You got to
Um,
watch it, dude. He throws one of the sickest damn curveballs I've seen in my entire life.
do
I
you remember
swear
his
to you.
name?
I don't. It was Danny something, maybe. Uh, I don't know. I just saw the pitch. He struck the guy out to end the inning.
Nice.
And dude, I'm talking like this curveball dropped like 3 foot. It was sick as shit. It was bad. And I thought it was a pitcher. And I was like, man, that's nasty. And then I read it afterwards and saw that he was like, what, a outfielder?
Yeah, I
I
think so.
believe.
I think he was an outfielder.
I was like, damn, this guy he ain't even a pitcher, and he's throwing some nasty stuff.
That's awesome.
He'll be pitching now. He threw.
No, he won't. Like that every now and then they have fielders go in and pitch a little bit here and there, but it's they never become pitchers in the season.
I'm telling you, dude. I've pitched for 13 years, not nothing in like in the majors, but I've seen a shit ton of pitchers. That's got to be one of the nastiest curveballs I've ever seen in my life.
The Red Sox have a lot of good curveballers in the bullpen.
Yeah.
There's one in particular that an MLB Hall of Famer has nicknamed the Yak Man because he goes out there and throws the yak ball all the time, which is what he calls the curveball.
Yeah.
Fucking they're like 4 or 5 guys that have nasty curves in their bullpen. That's a pitch in MLB that's gotten really, really common.
Yeah, they're
If you
hard to hit, man. It's like
Oh, yeah.
you think it's going to hit you, and then you basically get out of the way, and it just breaks in and makes you look like a fool.
Yeah, like, the best ones is whenever it's high, and then it just dives right through the strike zone on the
Mhm.
inside, and you're just standing there like, "Fuck." Like,
I couldn't imagine hitting a major league curveball. It'd be impossible
it
for me.
yeah, I would either swing and embarrass myself or just not swing.
I probably wouldn't swing. I would probably drop down like it's going to hit me. But no, who's the Chinese or the Japanese guy that threw it like so sidearm? His hand was almost in the dirt when he threw a pitch.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name, but yeah, he had a weird,
He had
like
some nasty moves, man.
yeah, he was like a submarine pitcher is what it's called when it comes from below, but he was like a submarine pitcher because he like you said, he
Yeah.
almost scraped the dirt.
I couldn't imagine hitting against that guy because you're watching the ball basically opposite, like you're used to watching it going top down. You're watching it, come up at you, and then him have some like change up and curves going the opposite. I couldn't imagine hitting off from that cat. I remember watching him being like, "How in the hell is he throwing at 85 miles an hour, basically in the dirt, upside down, backwards, whatever he did?" It's
I
crazy.
I remember a guy from when I was growing up that he always closed his eyes when he was coming out of his windup. So before he released the ball, his eyes were closed. That would scare the fuck out of me as a hitter. It's like this dude's throwing a ball 94 miles per hour and he's not looking.
Muscle memory, man. He knew
That
exactly where it was going.
and he was good.
Yeah.
Like he was not like Greg Maddux paint the corners good, but his pitches went where he wanted them to go. And that always impressed me. I was always like, "Damn, dude, like I can do that with my eyes open, but can't come nowhere near as accurate as what he's doing."
Yeah, the pitchers aren't the same today as they were in the past. I mean, there's
Well,
some good ones, but I don't know. Like you said, talking about Greg Maddux. When
yeah.
when have you seen a pitcher be able to paint the corners and do the things that he could do? Him and Tom Glavine back in the day.
I mean, David Price I mean, I'm a Red Sox fan. I watch
Yeah, to
almost
say,
exclusively Red Sox baseball, but David Price has become that pitcher lately
I
in the
haven't
past
seen him
few
in a while.
years, like because he's gotten older. And he was known for being like that guy that could hit 96, 97 when
Mhm.
he was a young kid at Tampa Bay. But then he went to Detroit, pitched
Yeah, I
there for a
remember when he
couple
played for
years,
Detroit.
went to Toronto, pitched there for a couple years, and now he's in Boston and he's learned how to pitch along the way. So now instead of being able to throw 96, 97, he can only maybe hit 93 with his fastball.
That's still crazy fast.
It's still crazy fast, but not to a major leaguer.
Yeah.
To a major leaguer, that's an average cheese.
Shit.
Because you got guys like Jordan Hicks for the Cardinals throwing 104, 105 on the regular. Aroldis Chapman hit 106 a couple years ago.
That's crazy. What did Randy Johnson throw? Like 102?
That might have been his top.
And that was at the time was like, holy shit. Now they're
Yeah,
throwing like that.
yeah, and I hate to keep bringing up Red Sox stuff, because we're not an exclusive Red Sox podcast, but David Price recently said that he wished MLB would come out and just come clean about them juicing the baseballs. That basically changing the inner materials of the baseballs so that they bounce off the bats better
I got you.
because of the influx of home runs. Uh, this past month, the month of March, April, because baseball technically started in March, but it was like the very tail end. So March, April, that month of baseball, there were more home runs than in any other single month in baseball history. In the 150-year baseball history, last month there were more home runs than ever.
Mhm.
So, and usually in colder months, the ball doesn't jump off the bat quite like it does in the warmer months. When it's warmer outside, the ball travels a lot better.
Mhm.
Um, so we're in store for a huge home run year. After last season, there were more strikeouts than any other season in previous MLB seasons. So David Price is like, hey, come out and just say that you fucking juice the baseballs. And it's been going on for a while that they've been getting, more and more hittable, if you will.
I don't know. They were bitching that everybody was taking steroids and juicing that way, and I guess they finally had them stop based on what all they're doing. So now they're just juicing the baseballs.
Well, it's funny you said that. A quote from that article that I was reading about all this said, "Today's baseballs may be more juiced than any player during the steroid era." So it's kind of funny that you mentioned that.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, home runs. That's how people want to see.
And we went to Tampa a few weeks ago and we got a ball. I've got it here with me. Um, and the commissioner of baseball came out and said that the seams are shorter on the baseballs now. And I don't quite know what that means. I don't know if it means like the threads are shorter or thinner or something like that. Like they're closer to the surface of the ball
The
is
only
what
thing
I'm trying to say.
I mean, that would take some of the movement off the ball. I mean, pitchers wouldn't be able to, because when you throw a curveball or slider or even a fastball, if
Right.
you
It,
throw
it
across
needs
the
it
seams,
needs that wind resistance.
yeah, and it comes off your fingers. It comes off your fingers by the seams. Like when you release a fastball, if you go over seams, you're basically the last thing you're touching is the seam of the ball. Like I
Mhm.
remember pitching, and the ends of my fingers would almost be bleeding
Mhm.
where I've released off that seam. So maybe that's what's making the hitters hit better.
Well, they said that it could be making it more wind resistant because it's shorter or whatever or smaller, and that could be the increase in velocity on fastballs. That's why guys are hitting 103, 104, 105.
Mhm.
But also guys can hit the ball and it travels further. So that's why guys are hitting more home runs. But I I don't know, man. I don't know enough about the comparing baseballs, I guess, to be able to tell you that it feels any different than any baseball.
I obviously can't feel it. You got it in your hands, but I can tell you, I have some home run balls and some strikeout balls when I used to play, and the seams were visibly higher, like almost hard. Like I said, it ripped my fingers up,
Right.
and it don't look like that nowadays. Like
Yeah, it's very smooth. Like,
yeah, I can just see it by you holding it. Yeah, it's definitely the balls that I've got are raised like quite a bit more, like I don't know, probably a half an inch higher. So I mean, it could. I mean,
and
they're gonna say whatever they're gonna say. Nobody will know. Even if somebody were to cut it open, who's to say?
right.
I mean,
And come to think of it, I do have a few other baseballs downstairs that you can noticeably feel the ridge a lot more on those than you do on this. But they're not official major league baseballs, so that's why I'm not really counting them in my like this is an official like from a game major league ball. So
did you
I don't know.
catch it?
They saw Grayson in the stands and their coach tossed it up to us.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, we got there a little bit early and they were still doing batting practice and all that jazz.
Yeah.
and coach just said, "Here you go," and threw it up to us.
Have you
But
seen that dude that does that for a living?
what?
Catches foul balls.
He does that for a living? Like he
He,
just
he he has his own YouTube channel. He's caught, I think he said over like 50,000 balls over the
what the
last.
hell?
He's got a YouTube channel, and every YouTube channel he goes to a different ballpark, and he just shows videos of them hitting batting practice, and he knows exactly where to stand for each batter to catch the balls. Anyways, he caught Alex Rodriguez 3,000th hit or home run or whatever it was.
Oh
He caught
wow.
the ball, and he refused to give it to him that day. Anyways, and everybody was like trying to kill him, like he couldn't leave his house, and they were cussing him, all this crazy
Oh
stuff.
man.
But he went on Kimmel and a bunch of shows, and so finally he said that it was either A-Rod or I don't know, it's one of the two, the big Yankees. Anyways, he made a deal that if they would give him a $50,000 donation to the charity of his choice, and he handed over the ball live at a press conference to him. I think he just did it because they were threatening to kill him. You know what I mean? But yeah, check his YouTube channel. He's got probably, I don't know, 500 videos, and all he does is catch fly balls. He's a grown ass man.
That's awesome.
He even has like stuff that he built. He's got a glove that he built on a string. And then whenever the balls are hit to the wall, in batting practice, he'll throw it out. And once the ball gets in the glove, he pulls a string and it shuts it, and he pulls it up the wall. He's cool, man. I watch it all the time. Just, I don't know
That's
why.
awesome. The only thing I'm gonna call bullshit on is Alex Rodriguez didn't hit 3,000 hits.
Which one of them had 3,000 that played for the Yankees?
I don't even know. I
I'll have to look it
couldn't name
up.
the most recent one. There's only been like 32 people in history that have hit 3,000. It's a pretty rare club.
Did a Red Sox player do it?
Not recently.
I have to look it up. It was a big ordeal because, like I said, he waited like weeks to give it back. And I have to look it up. But he's got it on YouTube. You can see the channel. He actually talks about it. He's got garbage cans like full of all his foul balls. He's got maybe 10 garbage cans full to the rim of just foul balls
Jesus.
that he's caught. And I don't know how he makes money, but that's just what
Because
he
people
does.
buy that shit. Like people will buy the memorabilia, especially if he has video of him catching it and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's got video. That's like I said, he records them all, and he's even been on after he caught whoever it is ball, and I'll figure it out when we get off air. But whoever's ball he caught, they even showed him on Sports Center. And the next game, he caught another ball in the same spot, and the announcer was like, "Hey, ain't that the guy that caught so and so's last hit home run or whatever?" And like they made a big ordeal about it. So he's I mean, wouldn't you love to do that? Travel ballpark to ballpark, just catch foul balls. That's all you do.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely would.
I'll do it with you. But he gives a bunch away to
No
kids, but
shit.
he'll like run right in front of a kid.
No, you were right.
Hey,
Alex Rodriguez does have
yeah,
3,115 hits.
that's what I thought. He caught his 3,000th hit.
I didn't, and it was a home run.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Does it say who the guy was that caught it? Because that's the
No, it
guy.
doesn't. It doesn't say that.
Well, the reason I'm asking, it's like a big ordeal. Like it was on talk shows and stuff.
No, I'm sure it was. I mean, I believe every word now. I just didn't think that it would have been his 3,000 hit ball.
You made me think I was crazy. I was like, I know it was Alex Rodriguez. Let's see, foul.
Jeter also has 3,000 hits for them.
It might have been Jeter. So Rodriguez is the one that hit the home run.
They both did actually.
Oh, God.
Jeter did too. Imagine that. Wow.
And those are the two that I said. Well, it's one of those two for sure.
A-Rod is the more recent of the two.
Yeah, there's the guy. His name's Zach. It's funny. Zach Hample. Hample.
That's awesome. I'll have to look him up after this.
And he's got over 1 million followers just catching foul balls.
That's
Crazy.
awesome. I would love to do that, man. That'd be awesome. I mean, especially if I could take like my wife and kid, stuff like that with me, because they like going to baseball games. So fuck yeah.
You could
Let's
use
do it.
You can use your boy's cuteness to get like extra, like
Get
$30.
autographs on that shit and then sell them for more.
Exactly.
No, I think that he's gonna be kind of a collector. He likes to hoard his things.
Oh god, that's gonna get expensive.
Yeah, it will. I already collect cards and stuff for him a little bit, so he's got a pretty decent collection going on.
Yeah, I've still got all mine. I've got 1982 to 1986 boxes unopened,
Oh man.
still in the seal. I've got, Bird, Jordan, Magic Johnson, Spud Webb, all the starting lineups still in the package. I've
Oh
got all
wow.
the Jordan Wheatie boxes still in the package.
Oh wow.
I,
Yeah, see, you were a hardcore collector when you were a kid too then.
I kept all that stuff. I've even got, I think I was telling you, I've got like 3,000 King Griffey cards. Granted,
Wow.
most of them, like the one of him blowing the bubble. Remember that card?
Mhm.
Got like
It's
40 of that
yeah,
one.
duplicates of it, like multiples, yeah. I'm the same way. Um, Cody Bellinger, the kid that's off to such a friggin' historically hot start for LA this year, like 37 RBIs, set the most RBIs in any month ever, and he's off to, like, ridiculous MVP type start. I got, like, 5, 6 of his rookie cards from last year.
I'd hold on to them.
He's pretty good. I mean, but I went pretty much the whole season last year and bought a couple packs every paycheck, and I ended up with tons of, like, all these rookie cards of all these great players. So it's like, shit, yeah, maybe one day, like, when Grayson's 10, 11 years old, these will be the superstars of the sport.
Yeah, I'd be sick. He'll probably he'll wait for you to like leave the room and he'll stick him in his pocket and go sell them.
Probably. That'll be bubblegum money.
Yeah, he'll be like, I tell you, remember we used to have Pogs. I had all the Jordan Pogs.
I had a shit ton of I was trying to explain that to Emma the other night, what a pog was and how you played pogs and you would bet your friends and all that stuff.
And you'd get like your friend would talk you into like putting up like a Jordan or a cool one. Then you'd lose that shit. You'd be so mad. You'd be ready to fight him for the Pog.
Man, I had yeah, I do remember that. You lose your favorite pogs. That always sucked. Um, I always took pride in my slammers though.
Oh yeah.
My slammers were where it was at.
You had to get one of those like real heavy shits because it always when you bought the packs, it always came with like the real light one.
Yeah, the little shitty like you had to buy the special slammer packs.
Yeah, I had one that weighed like 2 pounds, man. It was huge.
Good.
It damn dent the pogs when you'd hit them. All of them would flip over.
You you were like you were that asshole that everybody hated.
Yeah, probably. We should
So
bring him back.
bring back Pogs. Yeah. Put Into the Woods Nest Podcast Pogs.
Pod pogs.
Pod Pogs.
Got the pod squad and the pod pogs.
Fuck yeah, man. We are on a roll tonight.
my
But
name, my naming game is strong.
your naming game.
Hmm.
Speaking of strong games, I know you watch a lot of Sports Center. Did you see the Noah Syndergaard highlights?
Last night,
Yeah.
nah, nope. I didn't see nothing
So
last
you don't
night.
know what he did.
I
All
was
right.
so
So
tired. I was out.
do you know who Noah Syndergaard is?
Yeah, pitcher for the Mets.
Yes, sir. All right. So he pitched a complete game shutout, had 10 strikeouts. The ball game was 1-0. Guess how they scored their one run?
How's that?
A Noah Syndergaard solo home run.
Are you shitting me?
No,
Perfect game, and he had the home run.
he didn't have the perfect game. It was just a shutout.
Yeah. Okay, I
But
got you.
yeah, like he allowed some hits and walks and stuff like that. But it was a shutout, complete game shutout, and he homered
That's
to
sick.
drive in the only run of the entire game.
That's probably happened less than a perfect game.
Probably. That's got to be one of the rarest feats in baseball for sure.
That's sick. Even how often do you even hear a pitcher hitting a home run? More or less having that good of a game and hitting a home run.
Exactly. It's so incredibly rare. What do you think is harder though? We were talking 3,000 hits earlier with A-Rod and Jeter and all that. But what do you think is harder, 3,000 hits or 3,000 strikeouts?
3,000 hits, definitely.
You think hits is harder?
I'm. Like I said, I can just compare for one. I had 17 in one game. And that was only a 6 inning game. You're never gonna have. If you're in the league the same amount of time, because granted, pitchers throw their arms out, have Tommy Johns, all kinds of shit when you're pitching. But if you're going the same, a pitcher's never going to have 3, 4, 5 home runs in a game, or any batter. I mean, very rare, maybe once in a season, they might have 3 or more home runs. I don't know if even more than that's happened, but a pitcher's always going to have at least 3, 4, 5 strikeouts.
Mookie had 3 home runs in a game like 2 or 3 times last year.
And like if you're a pitcher and you don't have at least 3 strikeouts, your ass is already on the bench. You know what I'm saying?
I see your point, but they kinda contradict themselves when you say, like, it's easier because you have to strike out more guys, but it's harder because you could throw your arm out, so you're not gonna get to 3,000.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to answer that unless you knew exactly. I mean, anybody can get hurt, but it's more than likely for a pitcher to get hurt than a batter. And there's no way to guess and say, "Oh, well, he ain't gonna make it but 3 years because this is gonna happen." You know what I mean?
I think it's harder for pitchers. I mean, and the numbers back it up. The numbers support it. I just looked it up, 32 batters have hit 3,000, but only 17 pitchers have. CC Sabathia just did it the other day.
Is that because they don't last that as long as someone that doesn't have to throw the ball,
I mean,
90 times a game?
to pitch to get 3,000, CC's pitched what, 19 years?
And he's been in rotation all those years too.
Right. So that's a lot of pitches to get there. So it's harder to strike out that many batters, especially once you get older like CC did and, wasn't striking out 13, 14 guys a game. He's only getting 4 a game.
Yeah, but CC, he never has been one of those. I mean, he was, I guess, for a little while, but he's never really been one of those ones that go a full 9.
Oh, he's a workhorse though, dude.
I mean, he's a workhorse, but he don't. I
He'll
don't
he
know, man. He's just not one of those strikeout pitchers. If that
Oh,
makes
when
sense.
when he was younger, he
Yeah,
was.
when he was young, he had a few years where he was a monster. He was a big ass dude.
Dude, the entire time he was with the Indians, he was a beast.
Yeah, he was. Didn't he end his career as a closer?
He's still playing. He's still pitching. He's still a starter for the New York Yankees.
So he's still starting. He ain't closing.
No, this is his final season, but he's still starting.
He's made so much money. What else do you need to prove?
Nothing. He just loves the game, man.
Save your arm in case you have to go make a deposit for a kid one day. Go full circle, you know?
Oh, it took me a minute, but yeah, I got it. Oh man, no, I think he already has a shit ton of kids anyway.
Now, if I had that much money, I ain't gonna lie, I'd have a shit ton of kids.
I mean, I don't know if I would if I were a pro athlete or not, though, because
I would, man.
you wouldn't be home as much as you think you would to be with your kids. You like imagine how hard that would be to have all these kids at home and then to leave them half the year, every year.
See, the way I see it, I would have them young, like as start of my career. So that way, when I'm retiring, they're just not going into like high school, and I'll be there to watch them make it to college and kind of, see them make their full stride, if that makes sense.
So so while you're, playing the sport, they're growing up
Yeah.
and doing their kids, like being little kids, being elementary age kids, being middle school kids, and then you would catch them whenever they start playing the sports and stuff in high school.
Yeah. I mean, I would, of course, be there to coach them when I'm off, you know what I mean, and come watch them play.
See, I think that's the fucked up way to do it, though.
I don't know, man. Every time I come in for a home game, I'd be knocking her up.
I mean, I feel like it's the same thing as like career military people that are constantly on deployment schedules.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm here for 6 months, I'm gone for 6 months. It
Yeah.
doesn't create a stable home life.
Well, baseball's different. Like if you were in the NFL and you only played like once a week,
Sure, that's a little bit easier on the family, I think.
but baseball and NBA, they play a shit ton of games.
And hockey plays a lot too.
Yeah. But yeah, I can understand that. Like I said, I've been to everything my kids have ever done. I've never missed anything, and I don't know that I could imagine
you
missing
wouldn't be able
anything.
to do that if you were a pro athlete.
Even if it was like this past weekend and watching my daughter's team get their eyes beat in by the junior WNBA team. I'm still glad I was there.
Yeah, friggin' Candace Parker's daughter out there dunking on your daughter.
Dude, this little girl was like 4 foot tall. I swear to God, the sickest handles I've ever seen in my life on a kid. Behind her back, between her legs, so fast. We fouled
Wow.
her every time she'd drive. We'd foul her because we couldn't stop her.
And she hit every free throw.
Every fucking free throw. She went like 17 for 17 at the line,
She's a monster.
dude. And she's like 4 foot tall.
Did she have a good jumper? She ever get
Oh, dude, she didn't miss. She was sick.
was she?
One of the
That's awesome.
sickest kids. I've seen thousands of kids play. One of the sickest sixth graders I've ever seen in my life, and also one of the shortest.
Wow.
She
Good
had
for her.
she had so much separation based on her speed, and like she knew how to Euro step and do back step. I mean, she knew how to do everything. She would create so much separation that there wasn't a shot she couldn't hit. I mean, it's ridiculous.
One of those phenom kids, man.
I about asked her for an autograph. I was afraid I'd go to jail.
You should have, man, been like, "Hey, can you autograph this basketball? Like, I want to keep this because in 18 years, I know you're gonna be famous."
She made my daughter look stupid a few times. She crossed Marley up so bad.
Did she?
Marley tried her best. She didn't have a chance. And Marley's team, this is the first time they haven't won the championship in almost 2 years.
Jeez.
This team,
So she has a legit good team.
yeah, they're good. And off the tip off, they tipped the ball off, and that little girl hit like an NBA range three, nothing but that's how they started the game. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be a long day. Like you could just tell. And I was like, and they were so fast.
Kind of like Auburn. Was the whole team kind of like that? They just
Yeah.
threw up wild threes and they all just fell.
Their team name was the Basketball Factory. Right? They brought like 9 or 10 teams, right? Different ages. They came in a van with their name all over it, like a brand new van.
Oh,
They had
damn.
matching backpacks, matching sweatsuits, matching hats. All the coaches had on matching polos. Like you knew when they pulled in, like, damn, this team's legit. Yeah.
I remember playing against teams that did shit like that, and it's like, oh god damn, because I never played on a team that was like that.
And
All
you know that they're good because nobody's going to spend that kind of money on a shitty team.
right, exactly. They all come out with their matching fucking bags and all that stuff, and it's like, motherfuckers, like.
It's gonna be a long day.
But I remember in soccer, I played a little soccer in high school, and we went to the home. We were the home opener for a defending state champion. They were a 1A state champion. I was a 2A school, and they scheduled us for their home opener because they wanted to be like, look at us, we can beat 2A schools. And we went on their field and beat them on their home opener as they were like, oh yeah, we're state champs from last year.
It's like you're still a 1A, bitch.
It's like, shut the fuck up.
Just like Happy Valley, we were 4A. We're supposed to be 2A, but Elizabethton was a 4A school. We played Science Hill and all those teams.
Right.
And Happy Valley, the first year we played Happy Valley is my senior year. They were like, oh, we got the best team Happy Valley's ever had. Elizabeth can't stand a chance. So they just said, okay, we're going to play each other first game of the year. First time Happy Valley's ever played Elizabethton. Opening kickoff, Reinhardt ran it 105 yards. I think at halftime it was 55-0, and it was that bad. It was just kind of like, all right, y'all stay in your lane and shut up. Keep playing you naked and shit. Don't talk to us. Don't come back on our field. Yeah, we had Jason Witten. We had Sean Witten.
Just smacked them all down.
Yeah, we had people going to Tennessee, Navy, like all these schools, and they're still talking shit like we got the best team Happy Valley's ever had. Come on, man, shut up.
Anybody big off of that team that you remember that went at least played college ball or anything?
Not a one.
And they thought they were all big and bad, and I mean everybody knew who Jason Witten was when he was in high school, dude.
We had ESPN at our practices before the season started.
Like everybody knew who that kid was, dude.
Yeah, I ate lunch with Frank Beamer, with Philip Former. Like every day, there was somebody there eating lunch with us. But yeah, Happy Valley thought they had us. So.
Hey, you been keeping up with any MMA news?
Yeah, I have. I know that. I know I talked about it with you last time. I know McGregor. He retired for a day,
A day and a half, yeah,
something and a half. And who was the dude that just got caught with steroids?
The Russian guy,
Yeah.
Khabib's teammate. I can't remember his name, but it's one of Khabib's guys. Suspended for whatever. And you're probably talking about Dillashaw, TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah, Dillashaw's who I'm talking about.
Yeah, that we talked about that a few episodes ago with you. Yeah, fucking cheater. Did you see Greg Hardy came back and had another fight?
I saw that.
What do you think about that guy? We kind of kicked off the episode talking about the Tyreek Hill uh, domestic violence, and then I
Yeah.
guess we can kind of finish here with some MMA. And
I mean, I feel about the same as I do with Tyreek Hill, man. Like, where's he been? How long has it been since he fought before this last fight?
well, he had a fight not too long ago in the UFC that was another kind of cakewalk fight.
But wasn't that like right after he left the NFL?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Fuck him, dude. I mean, it can be done. I was talking to my boy from Knoxville, St. Prue, Vincent St. Prue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He played big ball at UT and he got signed in the NFL. And he's just a freak athlete. And any NFL player has the ability to do it. But I'm like, they won't until he fights somebody that's respectable, I guess you would say.
Right. I I've got a theory that I've been working on with this guy. I fucking don't like him. I don't like this idea, but I feel like this is kind of the way that it's going about. And it's because I watched wrestling a lot in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're trying to build him like a typical WWE style heel where they're going to march him in and feed him like these nobody fighters for a while
Mm-hmm.
to build him up to be like a huge megastar. And it's also keeping people happy that would be upset if he was getting the big push right now to fight a big name fight because his domestic violence and because he's a nobody in the MMA world and stuff like that. So it's twofold, but they're building him up to be this monster heel.
It
And
sounds like the
be-
MMA.
because they don't like people don't like him already, so like don't brand him as an exciting fighter. Like he got booed his entire fucking press conference. Make him out to be the villain. Make money off of him being an asshole. That's what the UFC is going to do.
What they did with McGregor.
I mean, but the thing about McGregor is like his rise was organic in nature because he got huge on the international scene
Mm-hmm.
and then got picked up and he had to work his way up. If you remember, he didn't just instantly get thrown into main events. He was on UFC fight nights
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, and then of course, whenever he was knocking out Aldo in 13 seconds, that was pretty much the highlight of his career.
Yeah, it's true. And speaking of, before I forget this, speaking of Friday night fights and all that, my sister's best friend and a guy that used to train in our gym, Jonathan Pierce, they call him JPP. He about 6 months ago, he fought twice in Bellator, once in Bristol for
Oh, cool.
Bellator and won.
Mhm.
And then he went to, I want to say Colorado is where he's been, some big MMA gym in Colorado. And he's been training with him for the last 6 months. He basically gave up everything, took every penny he had. And last week he got signed for a 4-fight deal to the UFC Contender Series.
Nice.
Well,
Congratulations to him, JPP.
he finally made it. He's sick.
I
He's sick.
bet.
He's let's put it this way, at the boxing gym, I used to watch him and he would run without shoes on, like on concrete and shit. And he's just a
Okay.
workhorse. And it's my sister's best friend. I mean, like literally they're inseparable. But I found out about it before he even posted, and I was swore that I couldn't say nothing. But he came on Facebook 2 days ago and announced it. So he's finally made it. He's 4-fight deal with the UFC. He's starting out in Contender Series, and I guess depending on how he does, might see him on the big screen one day.
God, I hope so. That'd be cool.
I can definitely get him for an interview.
Hell yeah, that'd be badass. Maybe we can jump on that too and get that bump in popularity.
As soon as he comes back in town, he hadn't been in since he left, because he's been doing his thing. But the second he comes in, I'm gonna set it up.
Right on. Your son still want to do MMA?
Here recently, he just wants to box, man.
Yeah, he got that belt, and that's he wants to get more.
He's getting sick, dude. He's starting to. He's mentally figuring it out. Like used to, he would just go in there and bang, and he would outlast whoever he fought. But now he's moving. He's slick. He'll wait on somebody to punch, and he'll counter him, and he's just starting to get smart with it. And there's not many kids at the gym that can hang with him at this point. And like I said, growing up, when he started, he would get his ass beat every day.
Yeah, show him the last couple Cody Garbrandt fights. They'll teach him not to just go out there and stand and bang.
Yeah, and I've tried. I've tried for years to tell him that, like, you're not going to always win by just banging. And then eventually, like one day, he just started moving. Like nobody told him to. He just started doing it on his own.
He realized that he didn't like getting punched in the face.
Yeah, I think because people are hit harder now. He's fighting. Like the other day, he sparred a 13-year-old kid that weighed like almost 200 pounds. He weighs 80.
Yeah, and how old is he? 9?
Yeah, and the kid never hit him. He was so slick, and the kid was new, so the kid was chasing him around like a bull, trying to kill him. First of all, this is how it started. Okay, Brad says, "Is it cool if I put him in there with him? He's new." And I was like, "Sure, go for it, whatever." I'm always gonna say I don't care if it's an adult. I'm like, "Yeah, go for it." It's like, "Trent, you cool with it?" "Yeah, I'm cool with it." I was like, "Okay." And then he were boxing, and Trenton came out and he punched kid right in the mouth. And that older kid, he looked at Brad and he's like, "Can I hit this kid?" And Brad said, "You better." And then all of a sudden he started chasing Trenton. Trenton was just moving around, and as soon as he would stop chasing him, Trenton would be like, "Pop, pop, pop," and then he'd take off around, like, dancing around more. And it wasn't close. And I was like, "Yeah, y'all better watch out." I said, "These 9-year-olds in here bounding on you."
Oh, ragging on the new kid too.
Well, they always think, like when he asked Brad that was kind of disrespect. I'm like, "Dude, you better watch your mouth. He might be 9, but he's been boxing since he was like fucking 5, just turning 5.
Right, he's been boxing for 4 years already. You
Yeah,
just walked in the fucking door.
you might hit harder, and you might beat him up in the street, but in this ring, you ain't gonna touch him."
Oh, and I bet he can take whatever you got too.
Yeah, he's tough, man.
So you better be able to throw him in bunches.
I'm proud of him, man. I about made him quit many times because I didn't think he could do it, but he proved me wrong.
Hell yeah, that's awesome to hear. Well,
He's uh, he's fighting May 18th in Georgia.
yeah, I think you mentioned that before. That's awesome. I wish him nothing but the best, man. I'm excited to watch his rise. From my seat as your friend, I get to watch it happen. And that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you're one of the first person I sent that picture to whenever he got his belt.
Really? Oh, that's awesome.
He had tears coming down his eyes. He had his belt. Yeah, he was excited. And then he said, he's going to kill me for saying this on the podcast, but he had his belt and he came over into me and whispered, he's like, "Hey, Dad." He said, "I got to go to the bathroom." And I was like, "Okay." He said, "I need you to come with me." He said, "I think I peed a little." And he didn't. I guess it was just his nerve. He thought he was sweating. He thought he did.
Sure, yeah.
But
He probably felt the sweat run down like the crack of his ass, and it hit the bottom of his underwear, and he's like, "Oh shit."
yeah, but it was funny because he whispered it to me. Like, he was so cool about it. He's like, "Hey, I think I peed a little." I was like, "Okay, man, come on, let's go."
Oh, that's so funny. But as a dad, that's a cool experience too, because it's like my son that just beat the shit out of another kid.
Mhm.
He's still my little boy though.
Yeah, he did. And that kid, we got set up on that fight. That kid had 8 more fights. We shouldn't have took that fight. It was a last minute thing. They set us up, but they paid for it. So
Hell yeah. That's awesome. The only other bit of thing that I wanted to talk about with you was Brock Lesnar's big shocking retirement.
fuck
I mean,
Brock Lesnar.
yeah, fuck Brock Lesnar. What that does is it makes DC and Stipe 2 the next match, the next big matchup in the UFC. So
And DC, he needs to retire too. He ain't never gonna beat John Jones.
I agree.
That's what pisses. That ain't his championship. It makes me so mad because he's lost to John Jones twice now.
Well, he's the heavyweight champion though, and John's never beat him at heavyweight. So
Hell, let him eat a few cheeseburgers or whoop his ass and let's call it a day.
I mean, I agree, but I mean, Wallow from Locker Room Talk is a huge DC guy. He doesn't give John Jones any credit whatsoever.
Ah,
But
what are you
yeah,
watching, Wallow? What are you watching?
not the same thing that we're watching apparently, but he's all about some DC. Which I mean, DC is great as a wrestler and he's great on the ground and all that stuff, but John Jones has beat his ass twice.
Ain't I Zach for this episode?
Yeah, you are Zach for this episode. So go ahead.
DC ain't shit.
That's it. That's it. Coin that one. That one's way back.
Yeah, he ain't shit.
DC ain't shit. All right, man. Well, I'm out of shit to talk about. You got anything else? What are you guys working on your show?
Well, really, we've been so busy with ball tournaments and him doing all his marine crazy shit that he does, and
Rux and
yeah, I mean he does crazy stuff. We've had so much to talk about that we haven't had a guest in a few weeks. Um, I've got a buddy that's got a real. I'm not going to give anything away because as soon as I say something, everybody will know. But I got a buddy that's going to come on that deserves a whole show to himself, and you'll hear it either next week or the week after. Inspiring story. Basically, went had it all, and the world got changed, turned upside down, type deal.
oh, so you got Will Smith on there. Gotcha.
Yeah, I wish Will Smith's the man. But
Fresh Prince, right?
yeah, I mean he deserves it. You'll hear about him. He's a cool dude.
Cool, man.
We've got probably 10 guests just in our pocket.
God dang.
We just don't know when to use them. Like we've got a few high school coaches, and you don't want to talk to them about high school football in the first week of May.
Sure.
We've got some other people, same situation. It's the timing's not there.
No, I understand. I
So
understand completely,
we've got a lot coming up.
but you guys just it's not bad for you guys just to go on there and have a conversation, just the two of you also.
Yeah, I enjoy it that way. I mean,
Yeah, it's Zach and I do it all the time when it's just the two of us. We've had a lot of guests recently because we've had the Game of Thrones episodes. Check
yeah,
those out on Monday nights. But aside from that, it's been a lot of just me and him bullshitting, talking baseball.
I like it. Like we had a whole episode here. Just we started out with baseball, went to sperm banks, ended with whatever.
I mean, yeah, it is what it is. We had a wild one. When Justin's a co-host, you never know what's gonna happen.
I just talk out my ass.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being co-host with me. Thanks Sportszilla for shouting us out, putting our podcast out there for everybody to see. Everybody else, thank you for listening. Make sure you click the download and subscribe button and all that good stuff. See you.